Welcome back to Commercial Finance Experts Academy. Hey, this week we're going to be talking about small business lending and how it applies to you in the commercial financing and how you're able to help your clients get better financing, especially when the broker channel has not been very easy. I'll just put it that way. In the past few weeks, I've seen more and more files come my way from other mortgage brokers, and at the end of the story is that yes, the financing, even for our nicest lenders that we have out in the broker channel, it's been getting more and more difficult for some of us, especially when the clients are business for self or if they're on the borderline. In the past, we used to be able to get a lot of exceptions. Nowadays, it's getting tougher and tougher. So there is an alternative to getting this done now. If you open your eyes and get out of that box that we call the broker channel, okay? So one deal that came across to me just recently is a file that has low beacon score in the past where it would have been approved already. The client's credit score was 583 beacon, so having that low beacon score as well as buying a prop that has high strata fee, that kind of kills into the ratios when it's a borderline deal. And some lenders will look at this, other lenders will not even look at the high strata fee that they're paying to debt services. In this scenario, it's tough to get the lenders that we have access to in the past to get exception, and it's difficult because if they're using a lot of write-offs in their business, some lenders won't allow to add back because it doesn't make sense, or it's tough to argue with the monoline lenders that are in a broker channel, and especially conventional deals. Insured deals, yeah, it's black and white, qualify yes or no. This is a conventional deal, it's 20% down, primary residence purchase. All the money is coming from a gifted partner which has really bad credit history, so she's not on title and she can't help. Unless we go in B lending, then the rates will be much higher. We got this approved because they made an exception on it, and we're able to use his small business income, even though some of the items that we request to add back was based on an exception. Some lenders don't allow it, but in this scenario, they allow it. On the broker channel, lenders, they don't allow it because we cannot add it back. For example, motor vehicle expense that the clients say that his business has expensed it off, but in reality, he said it's, whatever the story is, in reality is that it's on the documents and they can't see that somebody else is paying for it, and they want proof, and it's tough to show the lender that there's a 12-month statement showing that the proof that the expense is being paid off by somebody else other than the client, so that they can remove that from the expense and make that deal work. On the branch level lenders, they said, you know what, it's a small business. This is, if he was employed for a home, he would have to expense this, etc., etc. So, long story short, we got that approved. But other scenarios that you may come across is that can be done under small business lending is anything that the company writes off that you can add back is, for example, is I guess what they call is losses from bad debt. Really, that is just less revenue. But in the accounting world, some people get away with declaring that so that they can get more expense so that they pay less taxes. And there are other areas where small business lending helps is that the corporation itself or a holding company is paying the business owner X amount of money for car expense or what else is there? Down payment, for instance. The down payment's coming from the corporation, right? In small business lending world, they will let that. We can use that, and other circumstances with if they're buying a rental property in a holdco. I'll discuss this in the future videos about that. And in scenarios where their income and expense are basically paying the family members' wages, direct family, say spouse or a kid. We can make an argument to add that back because really it's just a paper income and expense on the books. When money comes from the dad to the kids doesn't spend it, or kid doesn't even actually get it, but the father actually uses it as income in the family, right? This happens quite actually often in the Asian family and Asian market. I find that I come across quite a bit of that. And there are scenarios where stated income don't really work in the monoline lenders view anymore. Is that a lot of cash-based business? Let me add it. Hair salon, nail salon, any kind of business that has a lot of cash base, maybe in restaurants for that matter. I come across a lot of those mom and dad business with a restaurant where they have a lot of cash base, which they don't declare, and it makes a huge chunk if you can show them where it came from. And I'll show you about how some files can get done in the future regarding where they see a lot of deposits on the merchant side, the business side, but the income side, they didn't declare that. Yes, CRA, they may control the CRA down the road, but if it's in their checking account that's going to the business account, they can see that the money's going in. They need to declare in the future, yes, but for now we can still use those income in certain scenarios. And as well as down payments coming from other business grants that they've used in the past. It's tricky, but it can be done. And same as small business loans that they've taken out elsewhere for other business use, but they use it as a down payment towards a purchase. We can take care of that as well. Okay, so there was a lot of exceptions that I haven't covered here, but I'll cover more in the next few videos moving forward so that you get a better idea of what's possible on the small business lending side. And yes, this is about residential property that we're covering this week. End of the week, I'll probably cover more towards commercial components as well. Okay, take care. Hope you learned something new today. Have yourself a good day. Bye-bye.